Hey you guys, how's it going? Welcome to the channel. My name is Jeff. If you've been here before, then welcome back. Have you ever wondered how Nvidia got its name? Well, initially the company had no name, and the company's founders used to use NV at the end of file names to specify next version, so that they always knew which file was the next version of their software. When it came time to incorporate the company, they thought, well, what should we call this company? And they decided they wanted to use a name that had the N in the V from next version. So they went through all of these words that they could find that had N and V in it, and they came up with Nvidia, which is Nvidia, which is Latin for envy. So that is how Nvidia got its name, although they've chopped off the I and just called it Nvidia. But now you know, next version. Today I want to share with you a new concept for a video. I haven't really done this before, but I think there's something here that's going to be useful for you. It doesn't matter whether you're just starting out investing, whether you're an ETF or a stock investor, or if you've been doing this for a while and you have a lot of experience, because I think this thinking will really help you to get the right mindset for investing in a way that I think is more intelligent than just going after like the stocks that seem to have gone up the most. This isn't advice in any way, financial advice. This is actually a text that I got from a friend. He actually invested a long time ago. I believe he made 2 or 3 investments, and all of them kind of worked out poorly, and I think he just decided to stop investing. He said, "The future prospects of a company are already factored into its current price by many, many people who have looked at the company and decided to buy or sell. Even if you do everything right, examine all the fundamentals, it's very hard to find a genuine case where the market has mispriced the company. If you think you have found one such case, the possibility is very good that you have simply missed something that other people did not miss." So this is often considered the efficient market hypothesis, this idea that when you look at the stock price today, that price is approximately accurate based on hundreds of thousands and millions of people buying and selling that stock. It's basically where it should be. Now, that's not the view of all investors. In fact, many intelligent investors, Warren Buffett especially comes to mind, believe that it is possible to find the value, the really good deal, the mispriced stock. It's not easy, but it's possible to do this a few times in your investing career. So what I want to share with you is how this, I think, relates to Nvidia. Now, just to go back to this friend who I'd had the correspondence with about stocks, he's really into AI right now, and we share texts and ideas about this. Now, I don't know how familiar you are with AI, how much you use some of the engines like ChatGPT, but personally, I use one called Perplexity a lot. There's an app on my iPhone, and I think it's the best AI app for doing any kind of searches. And I think he likes it a lot. I think he maybe told me about this. But what we're talking about is investing. So he mentioned that he thinks Perplexity is the best on the market right now. He says, as to whether they have a moat, I have no idea. And then he uses an example. He invested in a company called Palm, P-A-L-M. Now, if you've been around for a while, you know what a Palm computer is, or a Palm Pilot. They were the handheld computer. They were like the first kind of serious one before the BlackBerry. So what he wrote is Palm computing was the colossus of handheld computing. And handheld computing was the future. But Palm got leapfrogged by Apple. And he wrote, I was there with my internet-connected Palm computer 8 years before the iPhone. I was doing Google searches from wherever on my Palm 7 back in 1999. It was barely usable, obviously, but I was tasting the future. And then he said, I never did get into the BlackBerry. That was another pre-iPhone device that did a lot of what the iPhone ended up doing. These were 2 big names, he wrote, that had the market almost to themselves. Both gone now. I totally saw the future in terms of devices, but I had zero knowledge of which company was going to dominate. So just think about that. And this is a point that I think a lot of smart investors, including Warren Buffett, have said. You may know that air travel and airlines are a great thing great part of the future. It's going to be a great boon to civilization to travel in airplanes. But picking which of the airline stocks to invest in is really hard to do. It's hard to know which is going to be the best or the most profitable. So what he wrote is, I was 100% right on what was going to happen, but I had no idea who was going to make it happen. It was a real surprise to me, he continues, that Apple, of all companies, Apple, who I'd adored since the 70s, but who I saw decline and decline and decline into the 90s, that Apple took first place in the market that Palm and BlackBerry had practically invented. Apple's huge difference from BlackBerry and Palm was the lengths that they were ready to go to make the human interface good. They invented never-before-seen tech to make it happen. Most importantly, the multi-touch screen that is so easy to manipulate with your fingertips. The Palm screen needed a stylus. You had to use this little pen and you had to tap at the screen with this little plastic pen, stylus. The Palm screen needed a stylus, and the BlackBerry was dependent on this little miniature keyboard. And the degree of engineering that would be required to come up with something better was off the charts, evidently beyond what BlackBerry and Palm were willing to invest. So what his point here is, it's hard to make a profit from knowing the future if you don't know which company is going to bring it. The future is handheld computers, but who is going to be the king of handheld computers? Palm and BlackBerry are. So let's say you knew that the future was going to be in handheld computers. Well, Palm and BlackBerry were the two greatest companies for handheld computers. All right, so let's say you invested in Palm and in BlackBerry. That would not have worked. It would have lost the investment. You would have lost just about everything. So anyways, I think that's just something to keep your mind on, because we're in a world now, I can just sense it whenever I'm watching YouTube videos or reading articles. Everybody's trying to find the next, you name it, Tesla, Apple, Amazon. And it's very hard, to figure out which companies and which niches are going to be the next great company. But I am not as confident that it's impossible or that it's super hard to do. And I will say this, I'm going to explain why. I had an idea that Nvidia, this was years ago, that Nvidia was somehow on the leading edge with GPUs, graphics processing units. And I could see this, that they were being used a lot. This processing power was really important in electric vehicles, autonomous driving. A lot of people were using them in video games. And I knew that there wasn't another company close to Nvidia. And during the pandemic, there was just such a shortage of supply because everyone wanted their chips, but they couldn't even keep up with the demand. And I think whenever you see a situation like that where one company is so much above all of the competitors. So I was able to buy that stock, at $100 and change. And maybe it was like 125 or so. There wasn't as much hype around Nvidia then as there is now. So Perplexity, I was talking about it earlier as being one of the best, if not the best AI to use for search. I asked Perplexity, what kind of GPU does Perplexity use to do its computing? And the answer is, Perplexity uses Nvidia GPUs for its computing. The specific GPU used by Perplexity is not explicitly mentioned in the search results. However, Perplexity is known to use Nvidia GPUs for accelerated computing, as indicated in the Nvidia blog, which mentions Perplexity using Nvidia GPUs, and Nvidia NeMo deployed on AWS for current generation and translation applications. So you have it right there. You have this excellent AI app, Perplexity. And we don't know whether Perplexity is going to be the AI app to survive forever. Could it, to basically outdo the competition. It could be ChatGPT, or it could be one of the others. It could be DALL-E, but it could be one of Google's. But then I did another search, and this is asking it about Midjourney. So this is another AI art creation app that I use. And I said, what company makes the GPU that Midjourney uses to process images? and it said, this is the result, Midjourney uses Nvidia GPUs to process images. The company recommends having a GPU with at least 6.9 gigabytes of video RAM, and only Nvidia GPUs are currently supported, although support for AMD GPUs is planned for the future. So now what we're seeing is you don't need to know whether Midjourney app or Perplexity or ChatGPT, you don't have to pick the perfect AI company. And that's going to be really hard to know. I mean, nobody knows which of these companies is going to emerge in 5 years to be dominant. But I think it's a much safer bet to invest in the company that's making the GPU chip that almost all of these seem to need. Now, Nvidia may be like an obvious stock now because it's done so well now over the last 3, 4, 5 years. But I do think that there are other companies out there. And in fact, when I do my investing in small cap stocks or in semiconductor stocks, I am also looking for the company that is providing the picks and the shovels, providing the services, providing the chips that everybody else needs to do their work. And so I think if you can think of investing this way, in terms of not trying to find the company in an industry that's going to be the best company, but look for the company that's providing the products, the chips, the services, the components that a lot of other people need. And I also think it's really important that when you look for these companies, they don't just have one customer. This is a problem I think a lot of people get into when they invest in smaller companies especially. They'll find a stock that's just taken off, and they've made a lot of money over the last several quarters or the last year, but they've been doing this primarily in the service of like one major customer who's also selling a lot of stuff, whether it's computers or cars or whatever. But if you invest in that provider and for some reason things slow down with that one big customer of theirs, then everything falls apart. So, you need a diversified stream of income coming from several different customers. So I think that's something important to look for. So anyway, this is just my thoughts on why Nvidia I think is a durable kind of investment. And it's one that I did not know everything about Nvidia when I first invested years ago, but I knew enough to know that they had a lead in GPUs, and I just didn't see anyone close. I did not even know about AI or ChatGPT at the time. I just knew that there was a lot of demand and their chips were the best. So look for areas in different industries, different sectors of the economy where there's like one company that seems to be in real good demand, strong demand. And you're not going to find this in 15 or 20 minutes with a quick Google search. But you will find this if you spend several hours reading annual reports, listening to conference calls. Just, you have to go beyond the surface. You have to go beyond and start to see who is really generating the tools, the picks, the shovels, the chips, the software that everybody needs. And when you can find those platforms, you may be onto something as far as investing goes. So I hope this is useful to you. Thank you so much for watching. And if you have any questions or comments, put them in the section below. I know I covered kind of a lot of ideas about investing, but I just like to share with you kind of the thought process. So if you have any ideas or opinions about things that I've talked about, please put them in the comment section. It always generates an interesting dialogue. If you haven't yet, please like this video. It will let other people know you liked it. And if you're not yet a subscriber, what are you waiting for? Hit the subscribe button and the notification bell, and then you will get a heads up whenever I make a new video. I'm so glad you joined me today, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.